sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
Greetings, programs. I'm Jake. Today we're going to be joined by the lovely Sam Gallagher, who is here to talk about a bunch of the stuff he has going on. And Dave and I will give you guys a little bit of a prep for Nova, which we'll both be at. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm assuming Dave will be there tomorrow or Thursday.
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow afternoon, evening time-ish. And Sam and his brother Ben will be there Thursday.
Yeah, starting very early.
Nice. Cool. Welcome, Sam. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Cool. Fantastic. We were chatting before the show, and usually in that chat before the show, I go through and do a rundown with our guest of how the show will generally flow. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do that with Sam this evening. We're just chatting about other stuff, so it'll be a fun adventure for us all. Yes?
Yeah. Like many a hobbit, I'm ready to go on an adventure.
Awesome. That's cool. In the chat, we've got Dave Hummel. Hi, Dave. Hi, Luis. We've got Josh is here as well. John Steining is here. Fantastic. Unfortunately, John will not be coming to Nova this year. Boo.
Really?
Yeah, big shame. But hopefully next year. I'm going to cross my fingers for next year.
Yeah, like a bunch of people just kind of bounced last minute. Like I was talking to Joe, our buddy Joe from Death Ray.
Okay.
Like he was going to be there, and then he messaged me today, and apparently he's like, "Oh yeah, like some stuff came up." I was like, "Oh, cool, man, I get it." And then Jeff Smith was talking to me on the phone today, and he was like, "I was like, don't you live like 20 minutes away from?" He's like, "It's probably 40 minutes." I was like, "You should just come and see Dave and I and hang out." And he was like, "Oh, I can't. I got a lot going on." And I was like, "We're there all week, man. You got like 5 days." So he's like, "Oh, I'll see what I can do." But
yeah, no, all good though. All good. Who did I? No, actually just before the show, I got a message from Scott Radom saying,
Yep.
"Hey, Dave, are you at Nova? Want to go for a beer?" And I was like, "Sorry, dude, I'm at home about to start the show." So,
you're like, not now, but yes.
yes, Thursday on. Let's grab a beer. But fantastic. Awesome. Cal Ivanoni is also in the chat. So hi, Cal. Welcome. So brief introduction, and then we'll obviously dive more into all sorts of stuff. But Sam and his brother Ben have a podcast called Gondor Calls For Ale, which is the most awesome podcast name, particularly if it's Lord of the Rings related, but is super cool. But I've known Sam for how long now?
Oof.
Ridiculous amount of time. Maybe
Many
20
years.
20 years, something like that.
Early 2000s for sure.
Yeah. So it was Sam's dad who helped sort out all of my immigration paperwork for moving from Australia to the US. So shout out to Phil there. And Phil, also, if anybody wants to go and grab their copy of Rogue Trader, open it up to the credits page. They will be able to spot Phil Gallagher in there. That is Sam's dad.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I was like, wait a minute, I know that name.
You know Phil.
He's in that full page of like the John Blanche artwork. With all
with the staff.
Yeah,
awesome.
he's one of those lurking in there.
Oh, awesome! I didn't know that one. But that's
Yeah.
cool. Excellent. But yeah, Phil worked for GW for a very long time. Awesome. Also joining us in the chat, we've got Amos there, Blood Demon Painting. We've got Richard Ralph, and we've got Hank. Evening, Hank.
What's up, Hank?
So coming in to check us out nice and early. Awesome stuff. Yep, wearing your Japan shirt. I'm wearing my not today.
Nice.
Which,
Dude, I'm super bummed. I just ordered these 3 like really cool T-shirts that I've been looking for, and I don't know what I was doing, but like I apparently missized them all. So they're all 3XL, and I was like, that's way too big. Like I can't wear those. And so
wear that over a jersey. Over one of your hockey.
Yeah, I mean 100%. Like, so I messaged them and I was like, hey, like, could I just get these in a different size? And they're like, oh, we don't do returns for sizes. And I was like, what? So I go on their website. They only do returns for like damages, misship, or something else. And I was like, well, that sucks. Like, I guess I can't return these. So I gotta find somebody who wants 3 like really cool 3XL nerd shirts.
That shouldn't be too tough.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, you didn't say that.
It's just reality. It's not being mean to anybody. It's all good. But so yeah, but Sam's you've been playing Lord of the Rings for a bunch of years. Been super focused on it, and also spending a lot of time working hard on your painting as well. Doing a lot of classes with, or sort of, I guess classes is the right word. Is that right?
Coaching classes.
Right? Yeah. With folks like Richard Gray and Ben Comets. So we'll probably have a bit of a chat about that during the episode. So yeah, so that's who Sam is. The podcast is called Gondor Calls For Ale. You guys are on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
I've put the YouTube link in the notes below, and I've also popped your Facebook page down the notes below, so folks can go and check that out and subscribe and watch videos and like and that sort of thing.
All the social media stuff.
Yeah, I made sure I caught up on the videos earlier this week and popped in a couple of likes and that sort of thing. But it is wonderful and amazing how detailed you guys get into your Lord of the Rings gaming, which is super cool. But
it is a concern of whether does that set the bar to, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's all a little like, oh god, what are these nerds talking about?
Yeah, you just keep drilling down.
Go deeper.
Yeah, there were some times that I was like, oh yes, it's been a while since I played this game. But no, definitely cool. Jake, how's your week been?
It's been super hectic. With me leaving tomorrow morning and my business partner Ben dealing with an 8-week-old and a 2-year-old. He's been up to his eyebrows. So they also had some stuff went sideways in his wife's family. So he's been juggling a lot. So it's just been me trying to get us caught up and everything dialed in before I head out. But it's been. I mean, it is what it is. It's been fun. I'm excited for the Blood Angels box set next. Was it? Pre-orders went live this Friday, so not this Saturday. Next Saturday they come out. So that should be a good time. The art looks great. I think the new Lamartis I think is a really cool model. A lot of people really dig the new Asterath that's in that box. I think he's cool. I just don't usually run him. Like I've never run that guy. But the rules for the new Death Company look absolutely insane. And like a lot of the Space Marines now, you can do sort of dialed in stuff. So like if you're a Dark Angels player, you can be like, I'm gonna run Deathwing, and there's all like these Deathwing rules, or you're like, I'm gonna run Ravenwing, and there's all these Ravenwing rules. So for the Blood Angels, you can run Blood Angels. You can run like an Angel Company, which is all like jump troops. You can run Sanguinary Guard, and then there are focus lists. You can run Death Company, and there's a lot of like cool overlap rules. And the Death Company seem like they're really, really good. They've always been solid, but they haven't been this good since probably second edition or maybe third edition. Like they're pretty disgusting. It should be fun. And then there's a book that's coming out the same week that I'm really looking forward to. It's all about Morven Vahl.
Okay.
What is she, the abbess, like
She's one of the High Lords of Terra.
Yeah, but in the sisters hierarchy, I think she's like the like whatever the most senior abbess position is. I think it'll be fun. They've kind of alluded to her a little bit in some of the lore, like the sort of the old white dudes at the church were like, we'll promote this young sister who doesn't have any political ambitions, and we can tell her what to do. And she's like basically if a Marine gunnery sergeant was a sister of battle, and they promote her, and they're like, oh, so we think we should do this. She's like, yeah, I need to go crush this warlord on planet X. And she like leaves, and they're like, you can't do that. She's like, I'm a sister of battle. It's inferred in my title of battle that I'm going to be kicking ass. So she like leaves, and Gilliman's like, I like her. Like, so I was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool. So it's a whole novel that's just all about her. I was like, oh, that'll be kind of fun. So
cool. Yeah, that'll be good. How about you, Sam? How's your week?
Good. Busy prepping for Nova. You know, I as always made a foolish decision of relatively last minute to change what army I'm doing. And if you're bringing an army, you have to bring a display board. So, you know, it's been we've had a few warm days. So it's like, oh, it's sun's out. Go plaster a piece of foam with, you know, static grass and whatever. Set it out in the sun to dry. Try and speed all that up, and then run down into the cave to try and paint the last few models I have. But we're drawing to a close. I've got 2 models left to do and the display board to paint, and we'll be set. So fingers crossed there won't be any, like, you know, 2 a.m. painting in the hotel the night before. But, you know, you never know.
It could
like, no promises.
Right.
Fantastic. Oh, that's good. Super cool. Okay, well, I think it's time for us to jump into talking about different things, because I got some photos for the stuff that I've been working on in there. And Sam, this is the point in the show where I talk about pressing the buttons to share the screen.
Excellent.
Yeah. If you're learning how to run a show on this, like, you just tune in a couple times a day, we'll walk you through
it. He's not wrong. It's not wrong. But fantastic. So, of course, the first thing we do each week is talk about our wonderful season sponsor, the Army Painter. So I snagged this off their Instagram. So Meadows Miniatures, that's Robert Medwell. It's from the UK. Does loads of fantastic Horus Heresy stuff. Beautiful work. Lots of fantastic weathering and detailing. He was in the UK earlier this year, I think in May. He was in the US in May over at Herrick Games and Hobbies in California, doing a Kratos painting class. But
this might be my favorite model in all of modeldom. Like, the Leviathan Dreadnought is just awesome. Like, I own 4 of them. Like, if they're I think the kit is great. The new plastic kit, like the resin kit, is a nightmare, but like the kit itself is fun. The detail on it is great. The look, the aesthetic is really good. I think they captured, what if we took the old box knot and just made it bigger? Like, it looks like an angry soda machine. I love it. I love everything about this thing.
Awesome. Well, if you head on over to the Army Painter blog on their website, you can check out what Rob has to say about painting dreadnoughts, painting Leviathans. So you can paint yourself up one of Jake's favorite models ever. Nice. Cool thing. Next up. Okay, yeah. Last week I mentioned that I was working on, I got the dragon from the Wargamer Fanatic paint set. And had to paint this up for the article I do each month for Game Trade Media, called Game Trade Magazine. So it's there. But we're talking about the show as well about how quickly you can paint things. This is a alien purple spray all over. And then from the top, Hydra turquoise spray, and then some dry brushing, like two coats of dry brushing, I think, for the purple and one for the blue, and picking out the details. It
looks great.
It was under an hour for the whole thing. So it just the texture on the model is just super cool. But yeah, so it picks up dry brushing.
It's a really nice looking dragon too. Like
Yeah.
Yep.
That's very cool. You're a machine, Dave. Under an hour.
Yeah, you're a monster.
But no, seriously, it's all the texture and the dry brushing. It makes it so much easier to do. But yeah, I just want to do sort of a bit of a synthwave kind of feel. I'm not sure what its breath weapon would be.
If it's a blue dragon, it would be a lightning bolt.
Yeah, but if it's not,
then this is painted the wrong color.
Fantastic, awesome. So that's coming up soon. I think now that I've shown it here, I will probably end up posting it in the next couple of days on Instagram. Make sure you go and check it out and check out.
Yeah, that's why he paints so fast. Dave does it all for the gram.
His likes.
Yeah, but yeah, just check out the hashtag Wargamer Games, so you can check out what everybody else is up to. Other thing that I've done, finished off some more Inquisitorial Henchmen for my Imperial Agents. Saturday, I picked up the Imperial Agents book from Games and Stuff, and brought it home and got to have a look through it and find out how it had changed from the index. So I got to go through and make adjustments in all of my Inquisitorial Henchmen units. So,
I really like your converted Jokero.
Yeah,
same thing. I saw those models. I was like, it's a Jokero. That's amazing.
I like those ones look more like mandrels, whereas I really like the classic Jokero that looks like an orangutan. Like, yeah. But right away you're like, oh, okay, I know what that is. Like it sells it really well. It's the orange fur that does it.
Yeah, definitely. Does
he have zappy
oh, sorry, what was that, Sam?
Does he have a big zappy finger? Wasn't one of the Jacaras?
Yeah, he has the ring. He has the ring on his finger.
Yeah. No, I didn't put that on him. But he's equipped with pouches and other tech items sort of hanging from behind him. But no, the fun part was the index cards. It was basically you could add a Jokero to the unit, and that increased the ballistic skill of everybody in the unit by 1. So I was like, oh, of course I want to have a Jokero in there with like the gun servitor and a whole bunch of like a full squad of 10. But he doesn't exist in the codex. He's not there anymore.
No, that's so sad.
He's disappeared. So yeah, particularly because I've also converted another one. Haven't painted the second one. Maybe I won't paint him as quickly as he was going to get painted before. But yeah, but I figure that this is a retinue for like a radical auto Xenos Inquisitor. I've got the Jokero in there. I've got the Ratlings. There's a squad at the front there, who I gave the same armor color and sort of fatigues color as the 2 pressure suited guys in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty happy with how they all turned out. The lady at the back there with the big eviscerator, she's based on one of the Warcry Khorne models. I can't remember the name of the warband. The warband that has the
what are they? The jackals or whatever?
It's not the jackals for the World Eaters army, but the ones that worship the flesh eaters. Whatever they're called.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those are great.
Yeah, they are neat. But yeah, so she's pretty fierce. She stands taller than those than the pressure suited guys. So she's even perfect to give her an eviscerator. But yeah, a lot of fun. Having a great time with those. I was going to take some to Nova, but then I realized I didn't have quite enough finished. So maybe next time. But yeah, so then we will getting Who's getting notifications? Is that me?
I think that's me. Let me kill this.
Cool. Fantastic. I think now that the next thing we've got is a whole bunch of photos from Sam.
All right.
And talking about Gondor Calls For Ale. The first one I thought maybe was a piece you were working on at the moment.
No, so that was this is my converted Grima Wormtongue on horse.
Yep.
And I finished him up for an Isengard army that I brought to Nova last year. I think it was last year. But I'm just going through pictures of some of the cool stuff. Obviously my brother and I have a podcast, so we both love Lord of the Rings. But one of the things that in my heart of hearts I wish is they would release more newer, nicer models. And the plastic Grima Wormtongue is awesome, but you got to put him on a horse. So in my journey of Lord of the Rings over the last few years, I've been getting into trying to harness my inner Dave and like convert every model and do all of the stuff. So just showing off that basically that even though these like that horse head is from a Rohan model that's like 20 years old or whatever,
Yeah, Dave, I didn't know how to tell you this, but Sam and I have another podcast called Harnessing Your Inner Dave. And it's all about scratch converting and just whipping through armies.
Right. Nice. That's fantastic. Maybe you can have me on as a guest one day.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if we're there yet, but yeah, maybe.
If we successfully gathered that energy, then we can see if we can summon you.
Right. Just one night in the middle of the night, I'll wake up, feel compelled to come down.
He's like Dave's like Batman. He knows when he's needed.
Fantastic. So the question I wanted to ask you about this one was the putty on there. Is that the Tamiya rapid like quick type? Or
yeah. I got really into using that after. What's his name? The guy, he does a bunch of like historical armor models. Like he uses that putty all the time for doing like
that night shift.
Yes, yeah. Yep. And I was like, I have to try some of this, and then tried it, and I was like, oh wow, I really like it, and used that exclusively for probably a couple years, and now I'm back to using more green stuff and Milliput mix, and just trying to use, because I love the putty because it dries quick, right? As you would hope with a name like that, and it's more sandable than green stuff. That's something I always struggled with, so you can get a really nice hard edge, which is really cool.
Right, that's cool. Yeah, I'll have to. I mentioned before the show at Nova this year, I'm taking a class with Valbjorn to learn about tiny sculpting. I think he does most of his with a mix of green stuff and Milliput, but I'll no doubt he's tried this, he's used this, so I'll get his thoughts on it.
Yeah. There's so many of those things out there, right, and available. It's like, I don't know, like growing up as a kid, you see I saw all of the stuff in White Dwarf, and it was all green stuff all of the time. And then I think it was probably, I don't know if it was your articles in White Dwarf or on your blog you had for a long time, and you used whatever that like brown stuff was. Right. And I was like, there are other of these things. And once you open that door, rip that Band-Aid off, it's just like a flood. And you're just like, what do I use now? Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yep. No, fantastic. No, that's cool. That's excellent. I think I'd like to see a picture of the finished version. I'll have to post that in the BuildPaintPlay Facebook community group.
Yeah, definitely will.
Great. Excellent. Nice. So next up.
The Get Off the Road, which was until the most recent series of previews we've been having was the newest thing Games Workshop released for Middle Earth, and everyone was kind of like, it's not models I can play with. And I was like, oh my god, I have to have this. And it is an absolutely awesome model. And like you were saying before, I've been doing these coachings with like Ben Comets and Richard Gray, and this was a piece that I worked on with them, and I entered this in Golden Demon and Adepticon and got a little pin and their little card things. Now I didn't get the demon, so we're still on that hunt, but this is an absolutely awesome model. And because I can't leave anything alone, one of the things I didn't love about it was the actual model comes with like sculpted on ferns and stuff, and just the nature of how casting works, they're really flat. So I cut them all off, and Ben Comets brought me a box. I probably shouldn't say this, TSA might get him, of like dried plants and stuff. He was like, oh, I have this like green bits box. This thing would be perfect. So, I met him at Adepticon and was sat there and glued on those little like ferns you can see in the foreground. And
right. And then did all the like just touch them up and then entered it?
Yeah, but just like tiny little bit of glue and then like pass it off, and you're like, don't fall off that's like, for me, the most anxiety inducing part of the whole process is when you're like, I can see where I need to go. I just need to like not drop this like thing on the floor for another 100 feet and then we're in the clear.
I have that same feeling whenever I'm driving to the airport.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to be there in 20 minutes. I'm going to be there in 15 minutes. Just everybody else calm down. Calm down, everybody. Yeah. No, that's cool. Actually, no, the guy who sculpted this, it was at the time he was a freelance sculptor for Forge World / Specialist Games, whatever it's called now. But now he's actually moved to the UK and is a full-time sculptor for them.
It's that ring wraith is hands down the best ring wraith. I mean, ring wraiths, they're so iconic, and that is by far the best one. There was that part of me that's like, can I buy like multiple of these things just because the ring wraith pops off? He's separate, obviously. In this, I didn't, because you can never fully hide those seams. And I was like, if I ever need a ring wraith just on horse in a game, like you can't beat this model. He's that like hunched over, menacing black rider, and the details create like the horse has got nails coming that like, so it's shoed, so it has shoes and they come up through its hooves, and it's
there's amazing. There's that great bit in the movie where they show the ring wraiths on the ground, and they show the angle like towards the hobbit's back through the horse's legs, and you can see the nails like out, like the nails are too long. But again, it's not a real horse, so
they did an awesome job of sculpting that into the model. Like it's that was another thing about building this model is all the reins. They're like, it's Forge World, so it's super fine, but they all have like flash in between them, and you're like sitting there with an X-Acto blade trying to cut out the not like just like, whoops, I have snapped a rein in half.
Like, dear Forge World, do better. You did a great job on this too, like the hobbits and the greenery. Like obviously you always expect that to be great, but you did one of my favorite things in the world, which is you highlighted black the right way. There's no white on that model. I can't stand when people edge black all the way up to like blues and grays and white, and I'm like, there's no white. There's never any white on black. That's not how that works.
Yeah, it's so hard because there are like such a range of different blacks across, like, he's all in black on a black horse, with like all of this stuff, and you're like, how can you make that a separate thing? And like finding the right where the light would fall and stuff. And that's one of the things that's really awesome with this coaching I've been doing is, they're like, oh, I think you really nailed it on this part, but you put the highlight in the entirely wrong place somewhere else. And so
right. That's cool. Beautiful stuff there. Moving on, another couple of fantastic.
Yeah.
These are also entries for Demon.
Yeah. So the Pippin and Citadel Guard attire on the right was for Warhammer Fest 2023, I think. Whatever the last one they did was in Manchester. I just entered something in Adepticon and had like a month, and I was like so inspired, and I was like, I can paint a tiny little hobbit. He was also featured in a around the community Warhammer community thing about Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King, which was super cool. So and then Mary on the left was supposed to be a Golden Demon entry for this Adepticon. Unfortunately, I was misinformed of the rules, so I had that diorama and him, and I entered them both and was like, great, nobody said anything. But then somebody told me after the fact, after I'd entered them, that like diorama couldn't have a Lord of the Rings model in. I was like, oh no. So very nicely they let me take Mary out of the Lord of the Rings category and swap it. What I should have done was actually read the rules, because then like after I didn't get a trophy with the now I'm like, of course, well, Mary obviously would have been the Slayer Sword model. Now he's not it. No, but like, so I then went and read the rules, and it's like diorama, including Lord of the Rings. I was like, well, you know, but it was fun to paint, and I had a miserable time trying to do the water, but after
wait. So you can't have Lord of the Rings models in the diorama category?
You can. Well, it says you can, but because of the weird licensing, like it's always been a thing, right? Where like the licensing that GW has is, I guess, super strict. Yeah. But I was told by painters in the know that wasn't allowed. And then I asked one of the guys, and the weird thing is they didn't have there was nobody from the heavy metal team at Adepticon, so I asked the guy who was working there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess that's the case." And so I was like, well, I'll take the model out because I think the other one is a more impactful piece, as fun as the Little Hobbit is. But yeah, so that's poor Mary's little saga of now he just sits on the shelf gathering dust.
You have to make sure he doesn't get too much dust so you can take him next year.
Yeah.
You might have to paint a last minute model.
Right. I mean, it's definitely like that's the category I'll paint a model for last. As much as I love Lord of the Rings, I'm like, I've already got one who hasn't been judged yet. So
it looks fantastic.
Yeah, they both look awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think one of the things I love as well is it might be kind of tough to tell on the screen, but the brooch, the leaf brooch, being that nice pop of like more vibrant saturated green rather than the desaturated green in the cloak. Yeah. Very nice. I think a lot of people would have painted that the same green.
Yeah. No, it's and that's the fun thing about painting such a small little model to such a high level, is you have so much more time to, like trying to paint your dragon. If you were trying to enter that in Golden Demon, right, you're spending like hours and hours on every wing, and just
no, 1 hour.
Yeah, 1 hour. For us immortals.
Just quickly, I'm gonna say hello to Super Dan Osborne has joined us. We've got Alan from New Zealand has joined us as well. He said he survived his meeting with his accountant. Jeff Smith is with us. Fantastic. Better late than never. Exactly. But Josh says, leave him on the shelf. He is a fool of a took and causes trouble wherever he goes.
Yeah, but we're talking about Mary, not Pippin. Pippin's a took.
This is true. This is true.
Marin's a brandy buck.
Yeah.
I think the only Hobbit I think I still own is I think the only Lord of the Rings models I still have is I have the plastic Samwise from the Fellowship box with the frying pan.
Yeah.
And he has like the hot dog, the sausage links on his back. Like, I love that model. I painted that. I spent a ton of time on that model. I love it. And I have Theoden mounted it on foot.
Nice.
And that's it. All the rest of my Lord of the Rings stuff I sold my Prince Imrahil army with his Swan Knights.
Yeah. Well, if you ever dip your toes back in the new edition coming up, one of the things that we know for sure is they're including more thematic rules, and one of them they have confirmed is that Sam is going to be able to hit people with said frying pan. So there's always a reason to play with him now.
I mean, he's a classic fighter. He dual wields. He just has a short sword and a frying pan.
I just want to make sure that he has a special rule called potatoes.
Right. Yeah. That's when he's had enough. When he says that, like, he's had it. Like,
exactly.
Getting up on Shadowfax, nice.
Yep. Beautiful stuff here, and actually had a lot of fun with the water splash.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do, and this was like my first foray back into painting as high as to the best of my ability to enter in Golden Demon, and so I entered him in Adepticon 2022. It must have been, and got a commended entry with him, which I was very, very pleased with, because initially he was painted for like an online Instagram, one of these painting competitions kind of thing. So the unfortunate thing is I did a very bad job of green stuffing the back of his cloak. Like you can see where it's joined. So if you spin him, he's got a golden angle, and it's not from behind. That's
but, this one. I think same sort of comments and congratulations on making sure that each of the white parts of this model are different and varied. So
yeah, I mean, it's amazing because this is obviously a newer plastic one, and it's amazing what they can do now. And you go back and, like I said, I've been prepping for Nova and painting a bunch of these old metal Ranger models, and you're like, where is his face? Like his, it's just like mush. And on this, you're like, oh, I can see every detail.
Yeah. I like that it looks like he's wearing high tops. Like you can see his laces. You're like, wait a minute, what? You're like, oh, he's wearing the Air Gandalfs. Like,
right?
Fantastic. No, it looks awesome. Looks awesome. So I think that certainly establishes Sam's painting chops.
Very nice.
Beautiful work there, Sam.
Well, thank you.
This was a fun photo to check out. So
that's Quick Beam on the right.
It's actually Beach Bone, because Quick Beam has a model, but Beach Bone doesn't. So this was for probably my favorite Lord of the Rings army I've ever made. I went for my brother and I went to a really themed event, which was super cool, and it was an escalation. So he started with small points, and then it was 5 games, and as it proceeded, they got more and more points. So I did a 4th age Lord of the Rings army. So it was hobbits and the Ents, and my theme was that Treebeard had come to Merry and Pippin in the Shire and said he was ready. He was taking a quest to find the Entwives. So I spent my tournament putting objectives in woods and all various things, and telling everyone that the whole purpose was to hunt the Entwives. So I had to make myself a Beach Bone, and like I said, I could never leave a model alone. So the new Treebeard kid, as awesome as he is, had to get a bit of a repose.
Yeah,
nice.
Looks fantastic, and
yeah, they all are
painted.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the Ents. I play a lot of like Magic the Gathering, and I have I have 3 Lord of the Rings decks now, and I just made a green-white deck that runs Aragorn and Arwen as the commander.
Okay.
And the deck is very Lord of the Rings themed, so it's all hobbits, elves, tree folk. But I have Quick Beam in it. I have the Huorn. I have Treebeard himself. Like it's just fun. It's just fun flooding the board with that stuff.
It's awesome. I know when all that Lord of the Rings set came out, I was like, this is so cool. Like as a giant nerd, I've certainly played my fair share of Magic, and you put Lord of the Rings in the mix. I was like, oh boy, I haven't played this in years, but I'm back. You guys got me.
It's so fun. Like, and it's really, really well designed. Like they didn't just like slap magic rules on it. Like it feels like Lord of the Rings. Like I have a Rohan deck that's just brutal. It just wants to turn sideways and kill everybody. Like that's all it does.
Yeah, one of the things I love about it as well is that it's, here's a slew of art and different interpretations for the different characters or like settings. I mean, it's similar to there's that phone like Horus Heresy card game.
Yeah.
And I remember when I played that for a good chunk of time, and I was like, man, I wish all this had been around when I was like started building my Iron Hands army. Because there's like very little GW art for the Iron Hands, or certainly in the Horus Heresy era. And now suddenly there's like, an extra 30 to 40 pieces of art. And you're like, this is so great and so cool.
Yeah. Excellent.
I like your spare ring wraith in the background there.
Oh yeah, this is before the Get on the Road was painted. So yeah, he's lurking in the background. I'm also highly impressed with myself looking at this picture, how clean my desk is, because it never looks like that.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, they look great. Look awesome.
Thank you. It's yeah.
Not Rohan.
Yeah, not
my favorite. They're my favorite.
Oh, well, I mean, what a time to be a Lord of the Rings fan in general, but B, like Rohan, and this is Helm Hammerhand's army here. And he's got that new movie coming out. So the animated War of the Rohirrim is all about.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for that.
It's going to be great. I mean, especially for me as a big gamer, Lord of the Rings gamer as well. Like this is probably one of my favorite armies to play. And GW is like, we're going to be doing stuff with the War of the Rohirrim movie. And so now I'm like, oh, well, Helm's going to get some extra characters in his army. This is going to be great. It's all coming up Sam is how I feel.
Awesome. That's cool. I Oh, Amos has said that Palisade looks awesome. Is that from one of the GW kits?
Yeah, yeah. So it's cut up a little bit because they just come in straight lines, but I mean, you just cut between a log and snap it, and you can do. And then I added the shields to the Palisade. But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. The Games Work, the terrain kits they've been putting out. Like I recently just painted most of a table's worth of the Rohan houses. They're awesome.
Oh, those are amazing.
They're so amazing.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Boxes and boxes of Osgiliath terrain that I'm nervous to try and build because they're almost too modular. I'm like, a little less modular. I don't need to think this hard.
Nice. So it was just an army you took to an event?
Yeah, so I took this to, I think this was originally an Adepticon army, and then I made the display board for Nova last year. So I must have had Isengard the year before, but yeah, so I won a best painted for the army at Adepticon, and then I was which I'm very pleased with how they look, and I was like, I have to do them a proper display board, and I couldn't convince myself to build a part of Helm's Deep to have them riding out from. So I was like, well, this can be their outpost. They can ride out from their outpost. And
nice. No, it's cool. It's excellent. Then I think we've got some gaming photos.
Yeah. So this is sort of the classic Gondor Calls for Ale. As Dave said, we go probably overly in depth about all our games. And recently have joined the rank of people on YouTube, which makes it a little easier because we can then talk about a picture rather than describe. So there was this thing in the middle of the board. Anyway, so this was from that event. This was the final game from the event where I took the Hobbits and Ents to, and it's a classic, as Tolkien wrote, battle of Ents, Hobbits, and Gil-galad and High Elves. So very, very themed here.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember this happening.
It's the what if scenario. Frodo, he kept the ring. He's turned the Shire into the land of darkness. And Gil-galad was resurrected. I'm not entirely sure, but and that's one of the cool things, and one of the reasons I sent this picture over is the all of the tables that like most of these events are like, projects filled with love. Like if you're coming to Nova, walk through the hall of where the Lord of the Rings is at, and there's just the tables are amazing. There's this group
that comes into our store periodically, and they'll go, "Hey, can we get 2 tables?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." And they'll come in on like a Sunday, and they'll unpack all their own terrain, and they have like they have part of the gate at Barad-dûr, and then they also have the Black Tower. Like they actually have the tower with the eye. It's awesome. Like, it's nuts. Like they've set it up. It comes in like 4 sections. It's like 5 or 6 feet tall on the table, so it like almost touches the ceiling. Like it's nuts. But they've done such a great job with it. And you're absolutely right. It is an absolute passion project. They absolutely. I every time they come in, I'm like, yep, you guys absolutely can have a couple tables.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the great things about the game, and I'm sure most people I hope that for most people who are like heavily into a specific gaming scene would say this, that the community's awesome and everyone really is there because they love it. But that is 100% how I feel about like the Lord of the Rings. And because most of the games I play are either with my brother at home or at a tournament. And there has been like, I've been playing since basically I've been playing in tournaments since the current edition came out, which I think is about 6 years old now. And there's been like maybe 2 people I'd be like, I wouldn't really like to play you again. But everyone else, if they were like, hey, do you want a pickup game? I'd be like, yeah, let's go. This was, so much fun. And it's a really, really great community of people.
No, it's awesome. Excellent.
Yeah, so here you go. You can slightly, he's hiding in the background, but you can see Grima Wormtongue sitting next to Saruman in the back. So this is,
I still think one of the best humor breaks in the series is when he's like, but how can fire unmake stone? And he comes with the candle, and Chris Lee grabs his hand and pushes the candle away from the black powder. I was like, such a great bit that's in the scene.
It's so good. It's so, I mean, like, I don't know. We could, how long do you want this episode to be? Because I'll gush about Lord of the Rings and the movies for an unlimited amount of time. But it's, it's.
You shall taste man flesh.
Right? Yeah. There's a group, I think they're based in Richmond, who is a Lord of the Rings gaming group. They may just be a group of friends, but they call themselves the Man Flesh Enthusiasts, which is awesome. Kind of upsetting, but so good. And
it's a deep cut, unless it's not.
Right. You hope it is.
My one of my favorite things. One of the things where I look at this and it's like, it's so ridiculous. Like, how clueless is Rima Wormtongue when he goes, like, how can we possibly like fight them all? And then Saruman leads him out onto the balcony and shows him like the 10,000 Urukai. And it's like, what were you doing, dude? Were you asleep? Did you not hear them being made down in the pits? There's that whole scene. We flew through the whole thing like on a drone.
Right.
Amazing.
That's, I think, I'm sure this is common knowledge. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Whatever common knowledge is. But apparently that scene of all the Urukai chanting, they like went to I think it was a rugby game or a cricket match.
It's a cricket
And
match.
recorded it. I was like, that's so good, so good.
Yep. I watched something on that a couple of weeks ago because I originally thought it was a rugby game, but it was a cricket game. And they said that they were only able to use they were able to use all the stomping and the sort of the hammering and that kind of thing. But they were only able to use about 19 seconds of the chanting because with it being a cricket match, there are a whole bunch of like drunken yobos in the stands yelling out, "Hey, we love you, Peter! Screw you, Peter!"
Oh man.
The best part of those movies are all the stories you hear about either Christopher Lee, like kind of like walking them through, like, well, actually, if you stabbed someone in the lungs, like this is what would happen. Like you're like everybody forgets. I'm like, he was an SAS commando. Like he has legit killed like a bunch of Nazis. Like he's the man. And then you also have Viggo Mortensen, who like was like, I'm just gonna be Aragorn. Like I'm gonna camp in the woods and you guys can wake me up for filming and stuff. And like he's crazy. There's so many cool bits that are in the movie that were like real takes. Like the scene where he baseball bats the dagger away that gets thrown at him. They did that in one take, and it was supposed to just miss him, and he's like, "Well, I'll just knock it away," because I'm a swordsman. You're like, "What?" Like, it's crazy.
Alan has just said in the chat they filmed the sounds of the 10,000 Urukai at the local cricket game at the stadium here in Wellington. So it's a big deal on the news here, but then everyone I knew was in the movie. Being a Wellingtonian. Apparently Viggo got a few police call-outs for wearing his sword in town until everyone got used to him.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, that movie, that's one of my favorites. Like I love the Lord of the Rings. Like I do think that there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be in there, but like overall they did a great job. The Hobbit, the Hobbit should be 1 hour and 45-minute movie, not 3 2-hour movies. Like there's just not enough there.
Yep.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing. But I mean, I tend to be the person who likes everything and everyone and can find enjoyment out of most things. So like a lot of people are very down on the Rings of Power. And if you'd given me the control of how to do that, I would have done it very differently. But in preparing for Nova, I just rewatched the whole first season because I was like, I've seen it. I can basically just listen to it. And I'm like, man, outside of the weird little hobbits that they didn't need to really put in the movie, I'm into this. I enjoy this.
Yeah, I like a lot of it. Like I really enjoy it. I think, oh God, what's her name? Galadriel's probably one of my favorite characters, like in all of sci-fi and fantasy. And they do such a good job with her as like an angry like war widow. Like she's just awesome. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with it moving forward. I think the dwarves are great. I think the wife, she is fantastic. Every scene she's in, She's just amazing. I saw a really cool interview with her. So that this is like her like big sort of break is the role as what is she?
I literally just watched this and I can't remember.
Is she Glowin's wife?
No, it's Durin's
Oh,
wife.
Durin, yeah, she's Durin's wife. So she was talking about she got the gig and they like went to go to New York City, and she's like, I've never been to New York City before. So like the cab picked her up and dropped her off in Times Square, and she got out, and there's a huge poster of all the rings of power, and she's like, there's a poster of me that's like 4 stories tall, and she like is like, it gets dropped off, and she was just like, oh my God, what is happening? And I was like, that must be such a cool moment, but also she's like, it was wild. Like she's like, I didn't know what to do.
It is it's so wild. But yeah, so I'm it's funny. I'm like just nothing but excited about Lord of the Rings. So like especially being a Lord of the Rings, I play Games Workshop's Middle-earth strategy battle game. We've got a new book that I got the pre-order last weekend. We've got a new edition coming out. We've got a War of the Rohirrim movie. We've got Rings of Power coming out in a couple days. You know, I'm just like, what am I going to do with myself? Do nothing but
I really want them to do some of the Silmarillion stuff. Like yeah. I would love them to do like Fëanor and like, you know, like that would be amazing. And like you could do what's his name? The guy who falls in love with the elf maiden,
Beren and Luthien.
Yeah, like if they did Beren, like that would be amazing. Like there's so much cool stuff that you could do, and Hollywood's always so desperate for like, what IP can we look at? And I'm like, there's so much here. Like, why haven't you touched this?
Yeah,
I guess just because it's to do it right, it can be a little bit pricey.
Yeah, but like that's the only way. That's the only way you're ever going to make your money in Hollywood is you either need to have something that's brand new, or something that's done really well. And Hollywood's favorite move is do something that's a retread that's done okay. Like they would just rather do that. I'm like, they're like, we'll put out a solid C- and we'll make some money. And I'm like, but if you guys just doubled your budget, you could put out a movie that's a solid A that's going to just have like, do you want my money? Do you want the money? Do you want me to just back up the truck and dump it in your driveway? Do you want me to just put in a fire hose and hose down your house? Like, what do you want me to do? And they just keep making the wrong decisions. I'm so glad that Deadpool and Wolverine like obliterated every record, because people were like, oh, the budget's so crazy for this movie. And like they put all this money and they're never going to get it back. And now it's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
Dang.
No.
Sorry. Anyways, I love the Rohirrim. They're my favorite.
Speaking of the Rohirrim, we've got them in another photo here.
Yeah, I see that. That's why I brought it up. They're the best.
Yeah. So this was one of my games at Nova last year, fighting one of the funniest, coolest models, that Great Beast of Gorgoroth, which is the big rhino-looking thing in the middle. And the guy I played, he was super awesome. I made a complete fool of myself because he was from Texas. And so I was like, oh, you're from the general Texas area, which is not a thing. Texas is you just say you're from Texas. You don't ask if you're from the general Texas area. So that was cool. I felt very knowledgeable about the United States at the time.
Nailed it. Had a 1 in 50 chance.
Right. Got him. But yeah, I mean, his army was super cool. It was a very funny, like, he has all these lava bases and I have my snow bases, so it was a battle of fire and ice.
Yeah, that's a different IP, but I get it.
And it didn't go very well for the Great Beast in Mordor. Helm rode in and just absolutely cut the head off in like one turn of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, looking at this list on and like not having played in a while, I was like, I feel like the Rohirrim got this. Like, this does not look like a good matchup because they are like designed to kill giant monsters.
Yeah, and it was just, it's just he could have, if it went well for him, he could have just walked, because that's like a mini Muma kill. It like walks through things. But I think on the first roll it did not go well for him, and then just my army like piled in. And Helm hammer hands. When your hands are hammers, everything's a nail, and that was certainly the case for the Great Beast, unfortunately.
I mean, you don't get a giant fortress built by a horse people unless you are an absolute certified badass. And
right?
Clearly,
just accidentally or intentionally, who's to say, kill a Dunlanding chieftain with your bare hands and
Yeah.
start a war, ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's cool. I do have to ask. This is probably a little bit of ignorance on my part. Is that the same sort of beast that pulls Grond?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a pair of them that pull Grond.
Yeah.
I think it may be like even more.
Oh, it's a team. Yeah, it's a team. I think there's
four of them, but yeah. Yeah.
It's a whole bunch. But okay, cool. It's
one of those creatures that's definitely probably reluctantly serving Sauron. You know, it's there's another great Middle Earth podcast from Australia, because that's where like most of them come from. All the best ones are certainly, well, with the exception of the one recorded in Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah, but really great ones, and they always apparently like the scene in Australia seems like really cool. Like,
yeah,
everyone does all of these like off the wall events and stuff, and like one of them was run, like one of the prizes was for best song. So a guy wrote a lament to the great beasts of Gorgoroth who were reluctantly being pushed off the wall, which is fantastic. And it's so fun. I'm like, that's so good. I want more of that kind of stuff in events I attend to, rather than being like first, second, third. I'm like, who wrote the best song for their army?
Yeah, they busted this poor monster. They busted this poor monster out of the Gorgoroth Nature Reserve and like put a hound on him.
Yeah. That's awesome. No,
he was just minding his own business.
I was going to say Australians definitely go hard or go home.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of the. It's definitely it is a game. I think Lord of the Rings. I am basing this in not a huge amount of fact, but Lord of the Rings as a game definitely seems like it was kept alive in a big way by the Australian strategy battle game community.
Yeah, well, that's
cool. That.
That's great. Kill Team Narrative in the chat says, "Yay, Texas." Cal says your opponent did a great job on their minis. They look fantastic. And Josh says, Rohirrim, we're cavalry. Helm, no, today we're engineers and we're building a castle out of stone. Well, all right then. Excellent. Oh, okay.
There we go. There's the famous Gallagher bros.
Nice.
This was after I don't know.
So who's Liam and who's Noel?
Probably depends on the day. Which one's ruder most of the time? Because that would be me.
It's probably Liam.
Yeah. So we'll say that. I mean, I try not to be mean, but I think Ben is a little more relaxed with some is more chill with his opinions, perhaps. Than I. But this was the first Adepticon we attended together, because I went to one like pre-COVID, and then obviously was it 2 years it got cancelled because of COVID. So this was after a 12 and a bit hour drive back from Chicago. We had to harness that in a Michael Phelps or Simone Biles and show off all of that Olympic gold.
Pretty great.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think the next one. There we go.
Yeah. On the
very nice.
Yeah, so I think I got a couple of those with that Helm army. They were all hobby awards. Definitely not a single one for doing well in the tournament, but
it's fantastic.
Hey, gold is gold.
Right. It's and that's one of the things I love. I mean, I'm a sucker for a cool trophy. If you show me that something's got a cool trophy, I'll immediately be like, "Oh, tell me more." And it's one of the things I love about Adepticon, that you can get you get the trophies for. It's like the winning is celebrated as much as the painting and the sportsmanship. And I'm certainly of the opinion that like every event, the number one prize should always be best sportsman, because
I've told everybody, I've said it for years. Like I've won a bunch of different tournaments and trophies back when I was working for Games Workshop. Before that, after that, to this day, my favorite accolade is at the GW staff tournament. I won best sportsman.
That's awesome.
And I was like blown away. I had such a good time. And then again, it's all people who are we're all fun. Everybody wants to hang out. And I was blown away that I won best sportsman. I was like, wow, okay. But that's my favorite feather in my cap is that. So,
I mean, I think it's great because it doesn't I mean, I'm a painter. I love to paint, and I love looking at other people's painted models, and so I'm very pro like painting should be high up in awards. But I understand that's not everyone's favorite thing, and some people are like, you know, there is a skill involved, right? And you don't want to be like, we only award it if you're good at this specific skill. But being fun, having fun, and having a good time with random people and friends while playing with little toys, like, you know, the unfortunate thing is that many people aren't like that. So that's why I'm like, you know, all for fully like that should be the peak.
I miss GW's old metric, like the old rubric they used to do. So they used to do, it was best warlord, which was whoever had the best performance, and then it was best sportsman, and then it was best army, and then the overall grand champion was whoever had the highest aggregate score. Like, and I loved that. So like, you could have somebody who was an absolute tool, who just was not fun to play against. It was a real jerk, and went like, you know, 4-0 or 8-0 or whatever, however many rounds there were. And it was like, well, I'm the best general. It's like, right. And then it's like, oh, our buddy Kevin won won grand champion because he was like in the top 10 for sportsmanship. He was in the top 10 for like army. And then he was like in the top like 15 for his record. But overall, he had the highest aggregate score. And I was like, that to me was the best thing, because it made sure that you got rewarded for hobbying, for like doing the right stuff, for being a good opponent, for having a fun army, for, you know, playing fun games. Like that was what you got rewarded for, not like, you know, turning all your opponents into soup cans. Like that's not fun. Like that's fun for one person.
Yeah,
this is not a one person game.
Right. Yeah, you're like, great, I just spent 2 hours pulling my models off the table, and thanks, I guess. Yeah.
I remember back in the day, so I used to win Winston Sportsmanship Awards and some painting awards back when I played in tournaments. But there was one tournament I went to, had a great time. I played with the Dogs of War Army.
Oh, dude, I remember that list. That the Dogs of War Army is great.
And at the end of the tournament, the organizers pulled me over and said, "Hey, Dave, we need you to pick one of these. Like, you can either win best painted, or best sportsmanship, or third place." The way the aggregate score had worked, it got me to third place, and I was like, I've never been on the podium. I'll take the third place.
You're like, I'm not picking. I earned all 3 of those.
Yeah. That's quite happy to hand those to somebody else. Fine. I'll take that third place one, thanks.
Yeah, there's a group who runs a bunch of events in Durham, North Carolina, that my brother and I go to, and they tables are awesome. Everyone's awesome there. It's a super great group. But one of the things that I love that they do is they have a bunch of trophies, a bunch of prize support, and they don't do double dipping. So it's like, if you won, and I think they have it ranked like first, second, third, and then like painting sportsman or like whatever it is. But it's like, if you've placed, we'll take and also won best painted, we'll take the next best painter, or you know. And so it sort of spreads it out, rather than I've been to events where you go up and it's like, first place also won, you know, has won like 5 things, and this person constantly comes up and down, and they're like,
that's hard. Like, that's hard too. Nobody enjoys that. Another one we give out,
the best troubadour.
Yeah, right.
Another one we give out that I really like, and I don't know if you guys do this in your tournaments. We give out smoking boots, which is basically whoever had the worst record but was like a really good sport about it. We're always like there's a guy in our store who shows up. He loves 40K. He's there every time we do a tournament. Super excited, great opponent. Always like he'll roll and he'll like biff his rolls and be like, "Oh man, oh that stinks." Well, okay, like you'll probably kill that unit. He's always in a great mood. He wins smoking boots probably too often, but he's such a good opponent that you're like, dude, he was awesome. Like the last time I played him, I was helping him. I was like, okay, so do you want my help? He's like, sure. I was like, you should move that unit here before you shoot at my guys. And he's like, really? I was like, I was going to move here. I was like, I know, but I know how my army works. Like, you should move here. He's like, okay. So I was helping him out and stuff, and his record was better. But he's one of those people you're like, I'd play him any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Absolutely.
No, But there you go. That's also why you got that best sportsmanship award, because some people would just be like, well, I can cream this dude. So
Yes, seriously. And they do. They definitely do.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Smoky Boots also is like a cool way to be like, hey man, we really appreciate you hanging out and taking it in the face for 5 rounds. Like it did not go unnoticed. Everybody had a good time. Like
yeah. I always enjoy, like, so Nova coming up. I think it's 5 rounds, and I'm looking forward to doing really badly in the first couple and then just playing people who really don't care because they're not in a chance to win. So there we go. Nova from last year. This is Ben and I came in 3rd at the doubles, which was awesome, and something we like pretty typically, because the doubles is only ever 3 games, and so pretty typically we win the first 2 and then just absolutely get wrecked on the last one, and this time we finally managed to not choke, and so it was super awesome. And one of the guys, I think he's local-ish, I think he's in the Virginia area, makes these really cool trophies. So it's hard to see in that picture, but it's a Barad-dûr with an orange dice on top.
That's awesome.
So it's so it's so much fun, and that's one of the nice things about doing a podcast and having a brother who also plays these games. Is anytime there's a doubles tournament, it's just, we just go and get to hang out and have so much fun. And doubles feels like people take it less seriously and it's more tongue in cheek, which is how I try and take every game I play. I'm not always the best at it. I will freely admit that I get salty and upset about losing at times, but it's so much easier when I have my brother around to do that with, because he doesn't ever get like that. He's just like, oh well. And so I'm like, all right, well, that's when there's somebody else being like, oh well. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a game. This is fun.
Excellent. But I want to make sure we've got this one in there. It's Devon, is that right?
Yeah.
He's been running the Lord of the Rings stuff at Nova for a decade or more.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, always awesome looking tables, spectacular stuff. So
it does an amazing job.
Try and get some photos of that section and include them in next week's show.
Yeah, our recap show. We'll come down and get some photos with you guys.
Yeah, please. Yeah, we'll have to find a time and have a Lord of the Rings themed ale, perhaps.
Ah, yes.
From my long list of punny beers. But yeah, no, Devon does an awesome job. I think Nova is the 2nd largest Middle Earth tournament in the world.
Okay.
So,
what's the largest?
Ardacon, which is in Manchester and UK, and it happened relatively recently, and that's
just the last week or so.
Yeah, and I mean it's a little bit cheating, right? Like you've got all of Europe who will come to England a lot easier than over to the US. So
yeah,
not really cheating, but
yeah. But that's super cool. So we've talked about a lot about different things that you've done in the Lord of the Rings sphere, the Middle Earth strategy battle game kind of sphere. But what is it that you love about the game itself, focusing on the game?
I think I mean there are a bunch of things. I love just Lord of the Rings, period. If you missed that in this show, you've probably joined late. But and I think but as far as playing the game, I think the rules are really, really solid. I think there's something so cool about having an army and each individual model. Like it's not rank and file, it's not squads. And so you get these hilarious moments of, you're like one Goblin Town goblin who's like, grossly hanging out between a fence post. And you're like, there's an objective right there. Like Aragorn just needs to get through this goblin. And the goblin just, rolls the 6 and Aragorn doesn't. And just for turns, it'll happen. And so there's so many cinematic moments. And there's, and the biggest draw or one of the big draws for me is the nostalgia of it. But I think the rules are really well written, and the team who's currently like overseeing it is like very up to date, which is awesome. They, Jay, the main writer, wins like every other tournament that they have at Warhammer World kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's the rules are really fun, and you're always playing. That was one of the things, you're not like waiting for somebody to shoot their 200 bolters at you and just like I make some saves. You're like every fight you each get to roll some number of dice, and so
right. It's I always think it's a crazy thing from the rules perspective that it's essentially at its core it's the same system as was released in 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some minor changes, and it's funny because they've said this new edition's coming out, and they're removing some of the rules that were added in the Hobbit era that like I'm super excited about because they kind of I never used them and they're kind of a little unnecessary. So we're going further back into like that core.
Right. Yep. The core rules. Who wrote them originally? That was Alessio and Rick Priestley.
Yes. Yeah. And then I think Adam Troke wrote a bunch of stuff as it went on.
Sort of advanced it a little bit.
Yeah.
Through those. But I think compare it to something like 40K or Age of Sigmar and seeing the significant changes that happen every 3 or 4 years. To have a game system where the changes they're not massive sea changes to the game. It's just, well, let's tweak this a little bit. So that's always really impressed me. I think I always say that it's GW's most tactical game.
I would agree with that as well. And it's the strategy battle game. So you would hope that they've got that down, but that's one of the things I think is, so fun about it. Like cavalry feels like cavalry. If you charge with them, they're absolutely monstrous. If you get charged, you're like, oh, not so good. And then you build in that mechanic of having the might points that you can like, oh, well, I've lost this priority and I need to lock all this cavalry down. I'm going to spend some resources to enable me to do that. And
right. Yeah. Getting that, the heroic characters.
Yeah.
Doing their cinematic things.
Yeah. It makes them feel like Aragorn feels kind of like how he feels on the screen, where you're like, this is the big hero, he's running around and cutting heads off stuff left and right, and
except when he's fighting that Goblin Town Goblin.
Well, yes. I mean, that is the disadvantage of those big heroes is more often than not with a dice game, you're like, oh, well, that was a 3 high on 4 dice. Oh dear.
Yeah.
I remember doing the at the store, we would do the challenge where it's like Aragorn against 100 goblins.
Right.
Back in the day, because it was back in the day, he generated a free point of might every turn, so like you could always like bump stuff up. But yeah, inevitably you're like, oh no, I didn't roll a 4 or a 5 or a 6. Like,
yeah. But
he routinely got through about 70 or 80 of the goblins before he rolled badly.
Yeah, I watched somebody did a video of Sauron. How many hobbits could Sauron kill before he died? And it was hilarious. It's just like swarms of the trying to drag him down. But yeah, no, I mean, I think the rules are really solid, and I think that's I think it's one of those games that with every game, right? You go through time to like, I'm not that excited about this. I want to do something else. And then inevitably, and one of the great things about having the podcast where we talk about events we go to, I'll go to an event that I'm like, I'm kind of making myself go to get an episode out of this. And I'll play the event. And then I'm like, it's all I want to do now is go and play more Lord of the Rings or start this next army. Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so we've covered a whole bunch of stuff there. So much stuff coming for the game and for the fandom, I guess, of Lord of the Rings. Super exciting times over the next. Well, we don't know when the next edition of the game is dropping, right?
Before the end of the year, but no specifics. So.
Okay, so sometime in the next 3 and a bit months.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm going to guess maybe sometime in October.
October or November is they have a big, one of Warhammer World's big tournaments is for Lord of the Rings is in November typically. And I don't think GW usually releases anything in December, right? That's kind of their.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, they don't do any holiday releases.
So yeah, That's what I'm thinking. So, I mean, I hope you're right, Dave, because that means I get my grubby little paws on it sooner.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so before we head into taking a look at the community minis from the Build Paint Play Facebook group, Jake, favorite scene from the Two Towers?
Ooh, favorite scene?
Favorite scene?
Oh man, I don't know. If I'm being honest, Two Towers is my least favorite of the three movies. It's still good, but if I had to rank them, it's number 3.
That's why I picked it for you.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's probably the scene where Gandalf, like, sort of, they go into the room and he's gonna talk to Theoden, and like there's the whole scene where, for whatever reason, like, in addition to like the Rohirrim who are there's a bunch of like bandit dudes that like work for it's such a weird scene, because you're like, if I like it'd be like the Secret Service is in the room like watching the king, and also there's bandits, there's like a gang that hangs out, and you're like, how are they like allowed to be in here? But so like there's the whole scene where like Gimli and Legolas and everybody, like, they've taken their weapons and they like basically have a barroom brawl. Like it turns into Roadhouse, and they like beat up everybody that's in the room, and the Rohirrim are all like, well, I'm just sitting here with my spear, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So they beat up all these dudes, and then like Gandalf has that whole scene with Grima Wormtongue where he tells him to keep his forked tongue behind his teeth, and then he like reaches in and basically like tries to pull Sauron out, and Saruman's like, if he goes, I go, basically, and Gandalf like throws off the robes and he reveals that he's Gandalf the White, like that whole scene. And then at the very end where he like Theoden comes back and you see like all of his hair turned back to normal, and he's like, I know your face, and he grabs the sword. Like all of that is just amazing storytelling. It's just done so well. And then it ends with the where is my son? And you're like, oh man, like that whole sequence just, it runs the gamut. It's a lot of like, what's happening? Holy shit. Oh, this is bad. Oh, the big reveal. And then it's like, oh, you've saved the king. And then it's like, oh, right, your son got killed because Grima is a clown and basically wasn't helping you. Like that's my favorite scene in the movie, that whole piece.
Cool. Excellent. Sam, your favorite scene from Battle of Five Armies?
Ooh. This whole time he was like, what's my favorite scene of Two Towers?
So,
exactly.
Oh, now I have to remember which movie it's in. That's I think, I mean, the extended edition of the Hobbit movies, obviously.
That's canon. That's canon.
I think one of the best. I mean, the whole battle for Battle in Dale. But when there's that troll that they basically strapped a triangle of like rocks on his head, and he like runs up and then like, you know, headbutts the wall and breaks in. It's so good. I think it's amazing. And anytime the big monsters show up, the trolls with the crushing clubs and stuff, like going through knocking through the dwarves is awesome. I'm a sucker for the evil guys. So it's got to be, it's there's so many, but yeah, we'll go with hilarious battering ram troll knocking a giant hole into the wall of Dale, because it was just so amazing to see, like, because I watched those obviously in theater, and like, you know, giant screen and this like, and it's like one of those things where you're like, really? Really? And he's just like hucking up and then smash, and then he's just like unconscious. And it's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
It's definitely cool.
How about you, Dave? Dave, what's your favorite scene from The Hobbit?
Right. Well, hang on a second. I first off, I was just going to say, Josh said, "Don't tell the elf."
Oh yeah,
toss me.
When he's like, toss me. So I'm actually going to get to meet him. So I'm a guest at Granite State Comic-Con in like a month, and for a really small comic convention in Manchester, New Hampshire, some of the guests are pretty crazy, and a lot of them are from the comic book side. So they got like Stan Sakai, the guy who wrote like Usagi Yojimbo, and they've got like Kevin Eastman from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to be there this year. And I was like, wow, those are pretty good. And then they have like a bunch of like movie and TV guests, and like some of them it's like, oh, it's so and so who played, you know, the werewolf in season 4 of Buffy, and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Or it's like, oh, this guy played like the Ninja Overlord in like Ninja Destroyer 4, and you're like, okay, Jonathan Rhys is going to be there, and I was like, what? Like, my buddy was like, who's that? I was like, he was Sala. He's Gimli. He's Treebeard. Like, he's been in a zillion things. I was like, he's a huge get for that show. So I'm really excited. I'm going to bring my I have a Gimli magic card from the new set. I'm going to bring it and have him sign that. But yeah, like I'm really excited to meet him. I guess we're all taking him out to dinner one of the nights. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, that'll be great. You'll have a lot of fun there.
Yeah, but that toss me.
It's so good. You can ask him is it true that it's the dwarves that go swimming with little hairy women? Because that's another great line from them. Two Towers. So good. Gimli's
excellent. That's fantastic. Cool. What was the question, Jake?
What's your favorite scene from The Hobbit? It can be from any three of the Hobbit movies, but
so strange enough, I do not like the songs of Lord of the Rings. I always skip past. If it's italicized, I skip it.
Sure.
Reading it, I'm kind of glad that Tom Bombadil didn't make it in. So strangely enough, though, I think my favorite scene from The Hobbit, like the original, like the first film, Hobbit film, would be where the dwarves are cleaning up.
Okay, solid.
Not only like I because I feel so much for Bilbo. I feel so much for Bilbo because I would have like that same level of anxiety while they're doing their super accurate tossing of the plates.
I will say the original animated cartoon that's got to be from that's from like the late 70s, early 80s or something.
Late 70s.
The down to Goblin Town song, I was really mad that wasn't in the Hobbit live action. I was like, that song's amazing. Like, why is that not in here? Like, you put in all these other songs, but
yeah, there is. I think I don't know. I think it's just a deleted scene, not even an extended. But there is one of the Goblin King singing a rendition of "Down to Goblin Town."
Oh, okay,
it's not quite as good, but it is buried in there. So.
Okay, I've never seen that. I think the weirdest thing for me, last quick tangent, because like I want to see what you guys think about this. So having seen all of them, like I'm assuming that we have all seen all of the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing to me was that Orlando Bloom is great as Legolas. And I get it, he's older. Because if you watch the original trilogy and then you watch the Hobbit trilogy or the Battle of Five Armies, he is so jacked. He is huge. And you're like, I get it. Orlando's rocking his like midlife dad bod, but he is so mad. Like, it's like he's like hitting like the elf gym, like he's been hitting it hard. And then he's so serious. He is so like surly and has such a grimace on the whole time. And I'm like, he's supposed to be younger than he is in the trilogy. Like, why is he like he's so lighthearted in the trilogy? You're like, what happened? Like,
because he hasn't met Gimli yet.
Yeah, but he also hasn't
yet. That's what it is. He's got to meet his bestie.
I guess, but like even when he shows up, he's still a lot more like lighthearted. It's just crazy to me. I was almost like, did Orlando forget that he played Legolas before? I was like, what happened?
He's like, oh, this brand new character I've never done anything with. What can he be like?
Oh, I'm playing Legolas. Oh, this should be cool. Like,
wait, is this guy doesn't have any Lego? That's what you're telling me.
Yeah. He's like, I've read up. I know that Gimli, son of Glow, and so obviously I'm playing Legolas, son of Legolas. I'm playing Legolas, who's different. You're like, no, you're the same guy.
Excellent. I was just gonna say, Steven's joined us. Tabletop Super Show said Tolkien wrote all of the songs, including the one in the newer Hobbit live action. My brother has the actual music sheet book. And all of them Tolkien songs. It is that he wrote alongside the trilogy of novels. Nice. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, apologies. Sorry, JRR.
Dave does not like musicals.
I am not a musical fan.
Fair enough. I think that's totally reasonable.
I'm not an unreasonable person. But anyway. But yeah, so even though I don't like that, I love that scene where it's just like, because I even now just thinking about it, I can feel that same anxiety levels rising.
It's like,
But,
these dwarves are gonna break my mom's china.
They've eaten all my food.
Right.
They've eaten all my cake and they've drunk all my beer and wine.
Yeah, Luis is gonna go when Dane Ironfoot shows up. Now let's give these elves a good stomping. Like, oh, it's so good.
Yep. Billy Connolly, yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing as Dane Ironfoot.
Yeah. Excellent. Steven says, to be fair, he wrote the music out for them much later, in the late 50s, early 60s. There we go. Excellent.
All right, let's see what we got.
Okay, let's jump in. I'm going to hit present, share screen, window.
I'm taking notes, Dave.
Yep. Here we go. So I selected the August 27th Community Miniatures PowerPoint here, as you see across the top. But first up, so everybody who's watching at the moment, so these are all photos from our Build Paint Play community Facebook page. These all come in over the last week. So thank you very much for everybody for sharing. We will go through now, Sam, and talk about them.
Alan did a great job on this. This whole terrain set is so cool.
Yeah. Yep.
You can like the radar dish is modular. It doesn't have to live up there. You can use that as a landing pad. The other building, you can use that as different obstacles and stuff. There's so much cool stuff going on in this set.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the radar dish and the tower there as well were just like the first time. It's like these aren't super practical pieces, but they just add so much character.
I mean, the tower, that's where your Vindicare goes. You just put them up there.
Sure.
No, this is super
That's
cool.
where once I paint them up. Yeah.
I love terrain. I think is what makes a game, playing a tabletop game for me. I mean, you know, playing Dark Age as we used to, Dave. The first time I came over to your house and we played a game on your table, I was like, "Well, I'm sold." And this is the kind of same thing. If you were to demo me a game on a table with terrain like this, I'd be like, well, whatever it is, I'm buying it.
Yep, I'm in. So
I'm in. You had me at terrain,
right?
Yep. Fantastic. No, it looks awesome, Alan. Nice work. And Alan also painted this up recently. Finished it off for his wife. They painted, but did a fantastic job here.
That's super cool. I like the cork. So it's basically like a vial. That's super neat.
Yep. So it's
Yeah,
keep the dust off. But yeah, it looks fantastic. I gotta admit, I think Alan mentioned this one of the first busts that he's painted. I've got a bunch of busts sort of sitting around on my desk that I need to start painting, but there's that same trepidation. It's like this is very, very different to a 28mm miniature, so it's going to be fun to.
It's just an uncompleted 28mm model. It's just
Right.
You forgot to put the arms and legs on.
Yeah, nice. So that'll freak
Dave,
out.
it's a sub-assembly.
Sub-assembly, right? I'll get Luis on this.
Yeah.
But no, awesome work, Alan. Looks fantastic.
Yeah, I like that.
Sharing it.
It's a great job. Nice.
And we just had some fun with some After Effects.
Yeah, I use a little post-production in here. We had obviously this is the next blockbuster.
Yep.
Now here's if you want to really get them in trouble, it's like, is this BattleTech or is this Macross? Because that's an Archer and a Warhammer, which are two of the models they got sued for a bunch of times. Now they've changed them up. They look different enough now that they're not the same. But because I've played for so long, I know what models they are. But yeah, this looks great, and I think he's painting that. These are his Wolf's Dragoons, so that could very well be Jamie Wolf himself in that Archer on the right, and then that's not Natasha Kerensky because her Warhammer is black. But
there you go.
Super cool.
Sam, sometimes you'll get that deep dive from Jake.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, awesome stuff there. Anyways, I think it's always fun to sort of.
You did a cool job. I like the smoke kind of spilling up the side too. Like that looks super cool.
Yeah, it does look great. Yeah,
very nice.
And Maleva's joined us. He said these guys appear to be building, painting, and live streaming. Absolutely
Nice.
And Ava says Natasha will arrive later, Jake.
Yeah, you gotta paint out Black Widow Company.
Awesome. Excellent. Next up,
do you know who this is, Dave?
This is I had it. Null.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just because I read Betsy's caption.
This is super cool. Betsy did an awesome job on this. Like the highlights in the hair are super cool. It's still in that comic kind of style, but it looks great. The way that the Necro sword is painted up, so it has like all like the symbiote tendrils kind of coming up it. I also like that it looks wet in some places and it looks dry in other places. Like that's a great little hack to do.
Yep.
But super cool.
I do love that. Is that kind of not quite a chibi, but it's close to that style of
the Marvel United stuff is like chibi-ish. It's not quite full chibi, but it's like in that style. So
yeah. And and applying that cell shading kind of look to it is approach is a fantastic approach. Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome work, Betsy.
Very cool.
Looks great. Very nice. Kate, we haven't seen much from Kate recently, but she posted she's been basically getting in and powering through and finishing up her Gene Stealer cults.
I'm assuming she has a gazillion cultists because those are all transports.
Oh yeah. So there's 3 of the Ridge Runners. There's 2 lots of Adelan Jackals, 3 trucks, 3 rock grinders, which look fantastic. I love that bright yellow construction equipment look.
So good.
I like all the blood splatter on the diamond plate in the back. You're like, oh yeah, some cultists have died. We've lost some dudes.
Somebody get popped on the way through.
Yeah.
But definitely. And there we go. There's the cult. So,
there we go.
Bunch of neophytes. So it's that 4 squads of neophytes at the front. And many more squads of acolyte
hybrids. Yeah, some hybrids back there, and then all the named characters. I see like a Clamavis, and then in the back, the dudes with the capes. That's the gunslinger. That's the best character. I love that.
Kellermorph, right? Something.
Yeah, the Kellermorph is great with his 3.6 guns.
It's so good. It's awesome.
The 3 models in front of those Kellermorphs are the Reductus Saboteur.
Yeah.
Who is a fantastic model in the game.
Yeah.
I run her all the time. But yeah, the Nexus there with the hololithic table.
Yeah, the Warhammer World, right? Isn't that what it's
yep,
modeled after their docking bay or loading bay?
Yep, Warhammer World and the studio and that kind of thing. Yeah, definitely. But no, looking fantastic there, Kate. And also
very cool. There we go.
And Primarchs and Gene Stealers.
You gotta have some pure strains.
Yeah. That's let's play 40 pure strains there.
Yeah, and then a bunch of aberrants, and then two
patriarchs.
Yeah, or brood lords. Yeah, I mean it's the brood lord model. One's the brood lord, one's the patriarch, but yeah.
Yep.
Super cool.
But no, it's very cool to see all of those.
Plus, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for the classic Gene Stealer paint scheme.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yep, the purple and blue. Purple and blue, telling you.
That's it. Plus, that is an impressive army to have fully painted. I don't know the Gene Stealer, like any Horde army. I take my hat off to you if you got it all painted and looking awesome too.
Dude, there's a reason why I ran Prince Imrahil and 11 Swan Knights. Or sorry, 10 Swan Knights. Like,
awesome. Right. But no, looking great. Thanks for sharing those, Caitlin. Awesome. We got a couple of awesome toads here from Cal.
Very nice.
These look great. Just that one. It's basically like spinning a globule of something. Just far too big to be a tongue, I'm sure. But yeah, they look very cool.
Right.
I think some nice sort of contrast work. The contrast paint work.
There's so much detail and like little like nooks and crannies that like contrast paints just do all the heavy lifting here. I think you can just dry brush him a little bit. He'll look like $1 million.
Yep. Look, awesome, Cal. And Cal also painted up this this wicked vampire lord.
Yeah. He's not sure if it's a lich or a vampire, and I was like, why not both?
Right. For sure. But I don't think I've seen anything like this before, as far as the miniature goes. Just that.
Yeah, I don't know what this is from.
Yeah, I know you get the feeling that sort of creature, literal vampire, is just sort of lifting up into the air, and as it's going up, and all these things are coming out from underneath its cloak.
It's super cool.
Not something I would like to run into on a dark night, that's for sure. Yeah. Or in bright day, honestly, if I'm being
completely honest. Yeah. So you're saying a hard pass on this?
Yeah. Not sure we'd be buds.
Yep. Fantastic.
It's from Archon Studios.
Archon Studios. Sorry, Cal also said they're Reaper frogs with speed paints, not contrast. My apologies.
Nice.
That I stoked the controversy on purpose. that's me. Sorry. But yeah, fantastic. Josh says this is from A Nightmare and not the one with the clowns.
Yeah, the one with the clowns is all those things underneath them are clowns.
Okay, even better. But no, fantastic. Oh, great. Nice work, Cal.
Very cool.
Excellent.
Nice. Chris is one of my regulars.
Awesome. Chris has been working on this Bloodthirster.
Yeah, he's great.
Super cool. And it looks like Chris has been getting some painting time outside, which would be really nice to do. Sit out on the back deck and
yeah, next couple of weeks up here in Boston, it's supposed to be cool, or not cool. It's supposed to be like in the 70s and 80s, but like not super humid. So it's kind of like perfect if you can find a spot.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But yeah, looking great. I love the difference between the burgundy of the wrapping on the haft of the axe.
And the red of his skin. Yeah.
Skin. Yeah. Nice work, Chris.
Yeah, it's coming along nice.
Awesome.
Oh, Chris killed it on these. Like his stuff always looks great. The face on Moff Gideon is incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that red too. That's really that's awesome under the cape.
Yeah,
yeah. This is great.
I love the dark saber.
Yeah.
The disappointment on his face. Like I don't know how Chris painted the disappointment, but he nailed it. Like I think there's a speed paint that's just disappointment, and he obviously used that all over this guy's face.
Just slathered it on.
Yeah, probably a couple layers.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But no, it looks fantastic, Chris. Excellent work as usual.
These are great.
Nice one. Excellent. Clive posted a couple of 3D printed minis that so he's been playing around with a new approach to a pseudo slap chop kind of approach, but painting everything or spraying everything white, painting with some reds and some yellows. But he said, I asked him what his new approach was, and he linked to a Ninjon video. So anybody wants to go and check out Ninjon's channel, I can't remember exactly which video it is, but one of the recent ones where he's talking about improving slap chop.
It's so hard to do slap chop on a 3D print like this because you can see all the striations and all like the printer headlines.
Yep.
So as soon as you use any kind of contrast or try to do any kind of tonality like this, it immediately shows up.
Yeah. So I think these, given the those lines, I think that this might have been painted on printed on a filament printer.
Yeah.
So kind of a tough one, but yeah.
I'd be like, cool, this is a wood statue because I'll have some grain. I will paint him to look like a wood statue and it'll look great.
Nice one. I like that.
But I do like the colors. I mean, as a practice model, I think it's really cool because you'll be able to see all the ways that the contrast is going to stick to stuff. So I think it's a cool idea. I'm curious to see how this pans out, but
absolutely. Cool. Thanks, Clive. Excellent. So Dave wanted to show off, talk about his faux hawk, and we're talking about some sizing. So
I thought Dave was going to add these three to his list. I thought he's going to get a Thunderhawk, what is it, a fire raptor, and a Stormbird.
Stormbird, yeah. So, but no, he put those together, and then we've got that shot there.
Yeah,
So
the Polhawk lives in between the two, I guess. Its wings are more like the Stormbird. Like the Stormbird doesn't just have stubby wings, just wing pylons. It has actual like wing surface.
yeah, but yeah, it is a little bit thinner down the channel there.
Yeah,
but keep working on that. They were excited to see it completed.
I love the Stormbird. The Stormbird is so cool. I love the way it looks. I'll never buy one. There's no reason for me to ever own a Stormbird. I just like the way it looks.
Yeah, I painted one. I painted one for Dave Kaufman up at Titan Games, and that was a lot of work. That was
I can imagine.
There's probably about a pound of green stuff in it.
Oh yeah, go right because it's forged, so it's probably loaded with seams and like gaps and
yeah. It's not that good.
Yeah, like it's more green stuff than resin now.
It is.
Sulin's been chipping away at this. This is insane.
That's super cool.
Looking absolutely spectacular. The reflections there.
Yeah.
The color on the sword is awesome.
Yeah, you've got that light source from behind that rich, warm light source, which then reflected along that edge of the blade. Obviously not here where the shadow is falling, but
so cool.
And the beautiful touch there is the on the face is the tear.
That's awesome.
Walking down the face.
I can't wait to see as this keeps like adding to it.
Yeah, but yeah, beautiful work there. So
cool.
Absolutely spectacular. And Zulin's also painted up some 28mm historical models.
Very nice.
So there are some Templars. These are the Templars with the Red Cross?
I believe so, yeah.
Cool. But yeah, these are looking fantastic. That battered shield looks wonderful.
That's super cool.
But yeah, beautiful work there, Zulin.
These are the guys that run around yelling Deus Volt and like, charging into stuff. So
right. For a second there, I thought you said Dave's Vault.
No, sure.
Shh, nobody's supposed to know about it. But yeah, fantastic work there. Excellent.
Damn.
John, sort of his the ancients that he's been working on.
Yeah.
So we've got
I see much stuff from. It looks like Greeks up the top, and then he's got more. I think those are Greeks.
No, they're Republican Romans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or Carthaginians. But and you got some Gauls
and some sheep. Apparently, he's got one unit of sheep.
They're the fiercest thing you got to.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're like Marauder Warhounds back in the day. They just kind of like run around and
yeah. Absolutely.
And they're on round basis, so they don't have to be ranked up, which is how you know they're skirmishers and they're dangerous.
Yeah. they run ahead of the army. But yeah, it's fantastic to. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of these units as John's been painting them over the last year, and they look
super
great.
Cool.
Yeah, awesome to see them all there. Just sometimes you just buy skirmishing sheep.
Yeah, I like it. If they can get that flank charge off.
Yeah, that's awesome. Lovely stuff. Jonathan Palermo dropped in a post to let us know that his so the Space Wolves he won Best Painted with at Adepticon.
Yeah,
took Best Painted at the Capital City Bloodbath. They're in Ottawa, Canada.
Nice. Showing off one of our dice.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. There we go. So I think he said that he was using that for. I can't remember. I think this was his command points and this was his turn marker. So by the time he got to BPP, game over. But, congratulations there, Jonathan.
Very nice.
Now he has to work on the Chaos Space Marine Combat Patrol that he won as a prize. But yeah, excellent. Pardon me, Justin McCoy. Mr. Justin hasn't been doing much hobbying over the last 4 or 5 years. So it's really cool to see him getting back into it. I think he posted this in the group. I sort of on his own on his personal page that he tried a larger box. He'd done this as a smaller box, but he's thinking he might want to do something in between, sort of thing. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see this project continue.
That's a really cool model. I've seen some beautiful versions of it. It's such a cool mini. So definitely, I'll keep my eyes peeled for more of that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. Looking forward to it, Justin.
Very cool.
Welcome back. Kelly has been painting up some more Marvel Crisis Protocol. So this is Loki. Yeah.
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 Normally I have to do all the non-Warhammer stuff because Dave doesn't know what it is. So he's getting good. He's getting better. He's getting better. We got him a set of flashcards.
Oh, but no, this is looking really cool, Kelly. I'm loving that the green glow as well.
Yeah.
So it's like the classic old school yellow and green costume too.
Yeah. Well, I say yes as if I know. But, I'll take your word for it. But yeah, looking super cool there, Kelly. And Sif.
Yeah.
Lady Sif. Yeah. Again, I read captions and I remember things.
Yeah, Lady Sif is great. She's supposed to be like one of the finest swordswomen. So,
right. She was in was she in Thor the movie or Thor?
She's in the first one and the second one. She's not in the third one.
Okay, right. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, looking really good, Kelly. I think doing a nice job there. You got quite the Marvel Crisis Protocol collection now.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Josh said, just to be clear, Loki, not low key. Fantastic. Awesome stuff. Oh, Kelly has joined us in the chat. Said, good job, Dave. Nice. Fantastic. Cool. Some sort of work in progress shots here from Luis, working on Iron Father Farios.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, we mentioned before, Sam, when we're talking about sub-assemblies, we're talking about Luis because he does all of his stuff in sub-assemblies. But yeah, so it was nice to see that torso and then it in place.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. That scroll looks super impressive.
Yeah, it does look fantastic, doesn't it? I'm really loving the blade on the axe. That sort of
so I don't know if you saw, like, he originally did it metal and was like, oh, it looks cool. And then his son was like, you're just gonna leave it metal? It's really boring. It's a really big piece. And he was like, oh, I've never done molten metal. I'll see if I can do it. So This was his first attempt at doing molten metal. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does look great.
That's super cool.
Really cool. Beautiful work there. Oh yeah, Kelly said I'll have to post my MCP shelf. You very definitely will.
Nice.
See all of it together. But Luis also posted some photos of some Gundam work that he's been doing.
This blew me away. These look like professional, like, toy stuff that came out of a factory somewhere. Like I
would say, yeah, beyond that, like,
yeah, it's nuts. This is like yeah, this is not toy. This is like high-end production movie quality mod, like busts and toys you would buy, like collectibles.
This is stuff plucked from the screen. Is what this is.
Yeah, this is insane. Like that cherry gloss he has on everything, and he told me how he did it. He basically paints it gold first, and then he uses this like really thin lacquer and just layers it up until he gets that ruby finish. But like the metal, like the gold looks phenomenal. So cool.
I love the just the three different reds there.
Yeah.
For that differentiation of the panels. But yeah, as Kelly said, collector quality.
Yeah, this is insane.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff.
All the little markings and stuff really like make it sell as like this is a shrunken down giant machine. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So there are way more photos on the Facebook group, so make sure you head over and check that out.
If you're not a member of the Facebook page yet, just hit join group, and we'll let you in.
So Luis said this is a limited edition resin upgrade kit.
It's
Like-
five.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's amazing. But no, gorgeous work there. Looks fantastic. It's one of those things where I know that we harp on it. Well, I certainly harp on it a lot, talking about the sub assemblies, because it's not the way that I paint, and I always love seeing when somebody does something that's like very different to the way I do things, and they get wonderful results. So it's always like the way, however you do something isn't the only way.
Right.
Always so many ways. So if you ever get stuck, it's like there are other ways to try, other ways that work wonderfully for other people. So there are always things to explore and mess around with. But yeah, fantastic work. It's awesome.
Super cool.
Owen Rayrower
Very cool.
is posted this. This is a table that he's bringing along to Nova. He's going to be demoing Sunshard, I think, is the name of the game. So I met Owen 8 years ago, more than 8 years ago, as part of the Dark Age community. And Owen's been big into Dark Age for a long time, and he also, along with one of our friends, Chris, has a podcast, which is the Dead War Games Society, where they talk about war games that no longer are supported by the parent companies. But this is a game that he's been working on for a couple of years. We get to demo it at Nova. I think we're going to have him on as a guest a little bit later in the year, Jake.
Okay.
Probably sometime in October. And we'll talk about the game then. But yeah, again, we're talking about terrain.
Yeah.
Such
That's
a cool,
awesome.
cool table.
We'll go check it out. We're at Nova.
Yep, definitely. So it looks awesome. Nice work, Owen. Stephen Lee. So Stephen had painted up posted some Necromunda stuff last week. But he's decided to. He said his hobby butterfly sort of pushed him on to doing some Napoleonics. So this is an Austrian soldier from 1809. He said he's only got 2,000 more to
Oh god, it took all of my restraint to not go. That's more of a cerulean blue, and it should really be more of a like every historical wargamer starts giving you grief about like using a slightly wrong tone because like, well, actually,
yeah. There's a fantastic thing I had when I worked for War Games Illustrated. I got to go and talk to a couple of artists who live out Virginia, West Virginia way. And one of them had actually just spent like a week in southern France at a regimental museum.
Oh yeah, you told me he was able to like get all the photos and
the description of the uniforms was always this sky blue. So when any artists are drawing it or people, miniature painters are painting it, they're doing it in this sky blue, what we consider to be sky blue now. But he said it was so much darker. Like they had examples of the uniforms, the original uniforms that have been kept very carefully in this museum, and it's like, well, I guess this is what they called sky blue back then.
Yeah.
So it's really fantastic, and there's an awesome photo of to say like, well, there's no exact gray that these uniforms were in like the German army in World War II. Here's a photo of 40 different jackets, and they're all a different type of gray. So I always sort of stub my nose at folks who want to tell me what colors.
Wanted to be that specific thing, yeah.
But I think Stephen's done a great job here. He looks
these are great.
awesome.
Yeah,
And he's got a lot of work to go, but it's going to look great when he's finished.
One down.
Yeah. Awesome. And Stephen Reeder is in chat. He's been painting up some fun old models.
These
That
all-
weird frog guy is out of control. I owned that Ralpartha fighter on the left.
All right, yeah, nice. But
Yeah,
yeah,
is awesome. I
The-
love
the
the
frog-
lily pad shield. That's so good.
yeah, the little touch shield is wicked, isn't it? And the snake on the top of the helmet just looks great.
Solid.
Yeah, beautiful work there, Stephen. Stephen also posted some groups. So Stephen's going to be running a Road Trader scenario. I think we mentioned this before, but Road Trader scenario at Slow Death Games Fest in San Diego coming up in September, I think.
Dude, I love these guys. This is what I want guardsmen to look like.
It's so
Right.
good.
The old school helmets with the goggles, like they're the best.
They are fantastic. They're looking great. Oh, Steven says heritage leaping frog with Pelham.
Nice.
Uh,
Of course.
Well, of course, I should have known.
but they're looking fantastic there. There we go. September 21st and 22nd in San Diego. Yeah, Dave Pummel says, I love how bad the sculpts were, and they're still awesome models.
Oh yeah. I mean, like literally what you need, like, and I've said this before, I want those two guys in the front, and then I want a 10-man squad of beastmen.
Right. Alan said, I like the fact that his las guns are not snapped. They all snapped on the sprue.
Oh god. Oh god, that used to happen all the time. They'd break right where their hand is. You'd have like the box part and then the barrel.
Looking fantastic there. And also this crazy group,
Good god.
Awesome.
which look amazing. Absolutely amazing. But yeah.
You just need some of those green cactus balls with the red.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and to be fair, all of these should be on goblin green bases. Every one of these.
They should be. But no, these look fantastic, Stephen.
God, the old sculpts.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
good. Love it.
So there we go. RT601 pirate sculpts from the late 80s.
I have so much old metal. Like I have a ton of old metal skulls from GW, and I'm like, I am never gonna paint these ever.
Well, you know, you should send them to.
Yeah, Steven, apparently. I think I have two of the original Grey Knights.
Steve and Josh. They're the two people you should send it to. But looking great. I think that wraps us up for this week. We don't have anything from Scott. Scott Radom. Scott is at Nova at the moment. So
Oh, is it early? Nice.
yeah. I think he's doing classes all week. I think he might have a class with Eric Swinson tomorrow. But yeah. Steve says we base rimmed black models even way back then, except for Blood Bowl.
I mean, Blood Bowl had to be green. That made sense.
But there we go. Steve says, I'm interested, Jake. So you guys can chat after the show.
Yeah, 100%. You can message me when I get back from Nova. I'm happy to, like, I would love to unload a bunch of the stuff that I'm never going to touch. So,
yeah, fantastic. Cool. So I think the next thing is just quickly we're going to say who we're going on next week. So next week we've got.
oh wait,
what's that?
I said Thanos.
Yeah, we've got Thanos, and I don't know who Dan looks like.
Dan looks like Dan.
Yeah, he does look like Dan. So yeah, we've got our Nova Open review next week. We'll be taking a whole bunch of photos. I'm going to be the head judge for the Capital Palette. Jake's going to be hanging out with the Army Painter crew. So we've got Mike there. Mike Sibilia is the sort of head for the hobby activities at Nova. And Dan is my counterpart in Capital Palette. I get to do a lot of the front of the house stuff. Everything else is Dan. So all the behind the scenes organizing and making sure things get where they need to go in the cabinets is all about Dan and his team. So we'll be chatting with them. Should be a lot of fun. We'll all be tired and giddy and excited. So definitely super cool. Keep an eye out for next week. But there we go.
Well, a huge thank you to the Army Painter again for being our season sponsor. We really appreciate that. Sam, thank you so much for being here, man. It was great to get to talk to you, and pick your brain and talk about Lord of the Rings. Dave and I don't usually see a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff. Like we get it sometimes, but we just every once in a while we'll get like a random one off. Like somebody painted like Legolas or Aragorn a couple months ago. But yeah, we don't see a ton of it. So it's always good to have somebody on with a new game that they're like super into.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. It was awesome, and I'll always talk about Lord of the Rings to the death.
So if you want to hear more of Sam talking about Lord of the Rings, you can go and check out Gondor Calls for Ale. Again, links in the notes below. Hooray! So definitely cool. So yeah, you're on. So you can just search
So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and then YouTube. You can find us on all those, and then obviously Facebook and Instagram. I'm
not super familiar with the game, but I do love Lord of the Rings. I know I love Lord of the Rings, so I'll talk about that whenever.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's it. Well, so we'll obviously the three of us will be able to hang out in person in a day or two. So I will see both of you gentlemen at Nova. I wish you guys safe travels, and we'll see you soon. And everybody else will be back in a week. Dave and I'll have a follow-up show, and then the week after that, I won't be here. I'll be out of state at a wedding for a family member. But we'll have supposedly we're gonna have Dan Osborne on again, I guess. So
it's my favorite AI co-host.
Yeah.
Dan Osborne will be joining in. The alternate Jake is how I like to refer to him. But no, it's gonna be very cool. So awesome. Okay.
So Sam, if you want to hang out for a second, we'll do our sign off and then we'll chat with you for a bit after this. But everybody, thank you guys so much. We will see you next week. And as always, do not forget to build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.